Risk management in agile environments. Are you aware that risks should be managed with intentionality even in an agile environment? In my previous video, I covered a 7-step process for risk management, but today I want to reinforce that by giving you some thoughts about why risk management is important. Now, when I say risk management in Agile, does that sound like an oxymoron to you? It actually should not, because in Agile environments, risk management should be an ongoing process that is integrated into the overall structure of events and whatever practices you're working on in an Agile environment. There are several key strategies for managing risks in Agile environments, and in particular when using Scrum or Kanban. Let's talk about a few of these mindsets. Number one, the speed of discovery mindset. Identify risks early. Agile teams should use regular short iterations, which we call sprints in the world of Scrum, to deliver small chunks of functionality. So you want to identify risks with speed. This allows teams to identify and address risks early before they become major problems. Secondly, go after the big hogs, but watch the small dogs. You need to prioritize risks. Agile teams prioritize risk based on the likelihood and impact, and they focus on addressing the most critical risks first. So it's important that even in an Agile environment, we could use things like a risk score. We could use things such as a risk matrix, probability and impact matrix. Number three, iterative risk radiation discovery. You need to use iterations to iteratively discover risks on the project or in the endeavor if it's a product. Use risk-based planning. You see, Agile teams use sprint planning to identify and plan for risks. It's a discussion that should be on the agenda of whoever is facilitating that sprint planning session. It's also important to ensure that the team has the necessary resources and skills to address those risks. As my buddy Roy Schilling would say, a risk is an impediment waiting to happen. And therefore, in sprint planning, you want to catch these as quickly as possible. Also think about continuous risk monitoring. It's not enough to identify risks, but you have to continuously monitor. You see, Agile teams continuously monitor and review risks all throughout the project, and they should be updating their risk management strategy as necessary. So think about risk radiation being discovered in different pockets in iterations. Next, the mindset of a picture is worth 1,000 words. A picture is worth 100 words. The bottom line is a picture is worth more than words. And what I'm saying here is don't forget the power of visualization and metrics such as burn-ups, burn-downs, heat maps. Not to go overboard with these, but they could be very helpful in helping you track and communicate the status of risk. The team that my buddy Roy and I were working with a few years ago, mentoring and coaching them, wanted to use a more ecumenical, hybrid, agnostic approach to how they manage their projects. So not only did they want to see the events, they also wanted these visual aids, these maps. This is what helped the team and the stakeholders better understand where things were hurting on the project. Think about collaboration and communication as well. Agile teams rely on effective collaboration and communication, and that takes us to our next point on teamwork makes the dream work. You want to empower the team. Not only are you working with a product owner and a scrum master, you're working with stakeholders, you're working with a team. So Agile teams, remember, self-organizing, self-led, self-managed, and cross-functional, and that means they have the autonomy to make decisions and to take actions to mitigate risk. So when someone's waiting and saying, well, project manager hasn't shown up, I guess I can't do anything about risk, that is a wrong mindset. That is a predictive, traditional mindset that is not going to help you in the world of Agile. So in the world of Agile, we encourage teams to take ownership of risks, and we provide them with the necessary tools, the resources, the training in order to do so. When we talk about risk management, my friends, we can break it down into 7 easy buckets that I'm going to remind you about again. Number 1, have a plan for how you're going to manage risk. Decide with the team. This is not a servant leader decision. This is not draconian rule. This does not come from on high. This is the team saying, this is how we're going to deal with risk. How frequently are we going to meet? Number 2, identify both the positive and the negative risks. It is important for you to not only identify what could go wrong, but also what could go right. Number 3, perform a qualitative risk analysis. Categorize the risks, score the risk, espouse the idea I showed you in video 1, a risk-adjusted backlog. Number 4, perform a quantitative risk analysis. I'm not saying you have to go on a big old dog and pony show with EMV, but you could think about the cost of delay. You could think about revenue erosion. You could think about risk in the lens of urgency. What is most urgent that I do before it becomes a bigger problem? Which value in our product backlog do we need to work on now before it becomes stale and our competitor has one up on us? Number 5, plan the risk response. Decide what you're going to do. Put those risk actions into your backlog as spikes. Number 6, implement the risk responses that have been decided upon and use influence to get traction on those risk response actions. If you need the Scrum Master to stand up and use some influence, or the product owner or whoever to step in, make sure you get that help by bringing it to the surface in the daily Scrum and take it offline and get it resolved. Number 7, monitor the risks. Don't just say, we've got a boatload of risks we're tracking without doing anything. To proactively ask, is there anything else that we may not have seen at the beginning? This is why I call it an iterative risk radiation discovery. So monitor the project risk, take action, update the risk register as needed with new or modified risks, and you will find success. So, does risk management sound like an oxymoron to you in the world of Agile or Scrum? Definitely not. I hope not. I hope you've enjoyed this, my friends. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe to this channel, share with your friends. And if you are a Scrum Master in distress or a project manager that needs help to be able to think through stuff, get solutions to complex problems you are facing, why not go on down to pmanonymous.com, book some time, let's sit down, let's strategize, and let's find the best way forward for you in your unique circumstance. Thank you, my friends. You take care. Talk to you soon.